Charlie Kirk tells Megyn Kelly the exact reason that people voted for the legendary Donald John Trump. Guys, this is going to be a fun video. I know you're going to like it. You know, I don't know about you, but I am enjoying these liberal tears so much so that I'm probably going to overdose on the water I'm drinking, all right? It's getting insane, guys. Send help. Just kidding, just kidding. With all that being said, let's get into the clip, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. But first, everybody, do me a big favor here. Like our video, share it around, and if you are new, subscribe to the Resist the Mainstream YouTube channel so we can keep bringing you guys this great, hard-hitting content. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Darian. Let's get into the show.
I know you saw this clip. Her disgusting, gross elitism and her complete out-of-touch nature with respect to the rest of the world. Sunny Hostin goes on The View and decides now would be a great time to dump all over the so-called uneducated, not non-college educated, the uneducated, which is what you are in Sunny Hostin's view, including you, Charlie Kirk, because she's conflating, right, people who didn't go to college with people who are uneducated. We've got to look at the clip, and then I need your reaction.
What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men, actually, voting more for him. And you have...
Latino men. Just saying, you notice how they say that? That's something liberals always do. I just had to point that out. They do it because they think it makes them look more intelligent or worldly. I don't even know what the deal is, but it's weird. We're speaking English, lady. Just saying.
And black men was not the story. We're not the story here because they voted almost 80% for the vice president. Right. So why do you think that uneducated white women voted against their reproductive health freedoms? And why do you think Latino men voted in favor of someone that's going to deport, says he's going to deport the majority of his community?
White women like being called uneducated white women. I think the economy matters, national security matters. But when you put people in these boxes, I think that's a takeaway from this race.
Okay. It's amazing. She's specifically there referring to the women, but of course it's the non-college educated men as well who voted for Donald Trump. And the nerve of this woman to whom the country has given so much to try to dump on people who didn't go to college. Look at you. Look at your achievements. How do you like the so-called uneducated now, Sunny?
Yeah, and again, by the way, rarely do you get the answer to a question in the question. And her whole question is exactly why there was a rebellion against them.
Yes.
Listen, just because you didn't go to college doesn't mean you're stupid, and it doesn't mean that you don't have wisdom. I always differentiate between knowledge and wisdom. You can go to college and get a bunch of irrelevant facts about how men can allegedly give birth or whatever they teach. I mean, it's or about North African lesbian poetry. Okay, that stuff's fine, I guess.
Awesome.
But I said this to our team. I said working people, the muscular class, including working women in the sense of, you know, waitresses and women that work for Amazon. And there's a lot of women delivery drivers. They are so in favor of Trump, and they don't want to be called stupid or uneducated. And I've said this for so long, and it's finally manifested, which is that it is laced into how we do our public opinion polling. And she played into it perfectly, because I've said this for a decade, and finally I have a piece of evidence to show this more than anything else, that we look at how we elect our leaders in two buckets: stupid and smart. And the stupid people are the people that don't have a certificate from Yale, and the smart people are $200,000 in debt because they went to Drake. And so the breakdown, though, is that Donald Trump, which, by the way, is just smart politics, because there's more people that didn't go to college than did go to college. And I know that's really hard for the Democrats to realize, because everyone in their circle went to college, but the majority of the country actually does not have a 4-year college diploma. The majority of the country are people that have 2-year technical degrees or community college, or they just went into the workforce right out of high school. And so Donald Trump gave these people a voice because they're tired of being told that they're stupid just because they didn't go into debt to go study something that doesn't matter, to find jobs that don't exist. And these people, by the way, Megyn, both men and women, we call them, as I said, the muscular class. They are the ones that kept the economy alive to great personal risk for themselves and their family during COVID. They're the ones that delivered you your Uber Eats for 3 months on straight, while you in the laptop class were able to keep on doing your job by opening your laptop in the comfort of your home while the Amazon trucks were still delivered. And the supply chain went uninterrupted. Those people have felt belittled. They have felt talked down to. And Donald Trump communicated with them better than any candidate since Ronald Reagan in 1988.
I always go back to an old famous example of mine that I still think holds true to this day. Take two people, one plumber, one Harvard graduate, and ask them a very simple question. How many sexes are there? Then weigh the responses of those two people, and then you tell me who the real idiot is. Just saying, it speaks for itself. Aside from that, I've noticed this in my own life. People who go to college, generally speaking, are often snobs. Not all of them, of course, right? I have plenty of friends who went to college, plenty of friends who didn't, and I love them all. They're all great people. But I have always gotten along better with working people throughout most of my life. And I really noticed this because I've worked jobs in the past, like during high school, during college, where I was working with people who weren't necessarily attending college or weren't planning to. And we got along great. Things were awesome. But then when I worked certain college jobs with some of these students who were also attending college, some of them were really cool, don't get me wrong, but others were just, I just needed to stay away. It was bad. And I really think it speaks to the extreme institutional brainwashing that we have in our country. It's really quite scary.
And the final point I'll say is this, is Sunny, do you guys thought that abortion was going to be this like quasi-zealot religious issue? I'm pro-life. If people in the audience aren't, that's fine. What I'm saying though, what gives me promise, and I think we can all agree on this, is that there are other issues that should animate and drive our politics other than this very divisive one. And I was really encouraged by that, Megyn. Very encouraged, because the media was forcing this as an up or down vote on a referendum on a highly complicated, very emotional, very personal issue. And it turned out the American people were like, yeah, actually, these other 6 things matter more, and good for them.
By the way, Sunny Hostin, I think, went to Notre Dame. Her son's at Harvard. Her daughter's at Cornell. She's married to the Ivy League. And that's why she looks down on everyone else as a bunch of stupid losers who didn't vote the right way because they're not as smart as she is. I spent many years across from Sunny Hostin on the set of Bill O'Reilly. She is not as smart as she thinks she is. In fact, I defy you to show me one debate we ever had that she won. There isn't one. So I'm not done with the Charlie Kirk homage.
Oh, boy.
We put together a little bit of you on your college tour just so the audience can see some of the hard work you were doing. Let's play shot 1.
Can you tell me her greatest accomplishment?
No, I can't.
Can you tell me a single accomplishment?
I cannot. I want to leave.
What is Kamala Harris's greatest accomplishment?
Could you please explain why under a Trump presidency would be more beneficial to me than a Harris presidency?
I want to try to win you over as a liberal for Donald Trump.
Why should I vote for Trump?
There's no guesswork in this election. We know the type of president that Trump was and that he will be. There are 3 things I want you to think about when voting for Trump. Home ownership, border, war. 3 objective things.
When I decide, just in case, can I have a hat?
You can have a hat. So which way are you leaning?
Can I get a hat?
That's a good answer. How are you leaning this election?
Well, after what you said, Trump.
Let's go!
All right, and 2 points on that, Charlie. So we had a bunch of kids from my son's high school here with me in studio on election night, and maybe 15 of them, and they were all Trump supporters. Where there was no screening, we're only taking the Trump supporters, but it just happened to be how it worked out. And that third point, war, was a big one for all of them. They're actually really worried about this neocon strain in the Democrat Party because they're the ones who are going to have to go fight it. And so you were tapping into exactly the right thing. And then one other cue point.
Got to hit that point real quick because it's important. To Megyn Kelly's point right there about voting and how young men are the ones who have to face the consequences of these actions, I think it's important to revisit the reality that voting used to be a privilege, and the idea of voting being a right is a very new thing. And it really makes you think, because one of the things that came with that privilege of voting originally, earlier in America's history, was that men who voted were expected to go for the draft and be willing to fight and potentially die for their country if need be. Nowadays, the draft does not come with voting, unless, of course, you're a man. in which case you're forced into it. So in other words, nowadays, people who cannot be sent to war, who will not be put on the front lines to die, no matter what, can vote for a crazed warmonger candidate who will gladly send boys to battle. Do you guys think that's fair? I'm actually curious. Let me know your opinions. Comment below. I want to hear it.
My kids are in school all day and therefore do not listen to my show every day. They listen to it here and there, and they get clips on social media. And we were talking this week about who I had coming on today, and I told him, Charlie Kirk. And my son and my daughter, she's 13, he's 15, go, "You know Charlie Kirk?" I'm like, "Yes, I know Charlie Kirk. Yes." Oh, could we meet Charlie Kirk? I'm like, I think I could arrange it at some point. But that's how young, you're like a 13-year-old girl. She's seen your clips. She's been influenced by you. They watched you on that show. Where do they surround you and you debate all the people? Jubilee. They watched you there.
That was something.
I mean, you're making a huge difference, not just in today's voters, but in the next up-and-coming ones who are going to be voting 4 years from now, Charlie. It's huge. I do feel there's something divine going on. You were chosen for some reason.
That's all for today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. As always, everyone, please comment below. Let us know what you think about the video, what kind of stuff you want to see in the future, and we'll see you guys again soon. Thank you, and God bless.